Episode 6 of Apple TV Plus Servant Season 2 was titled Espresso. An unexpected visitor pushes everyone to their limits as Sean re-examines his past and Dorothy attempts to negotiate a delicate exchange. Hey, what's going on, everybody, and welcome back to my channel, Movie Files. Elliot back again with my weekly recap, breakdown, and review of the latest episode of Apple TV Plus Servant Season 2. We're all the way up to Episode 6, which was titled Espresso. And this episode was a little bit of a mixed bag for me, but we're going to break it all down in the spoiler discussion. But before we dive into it, as you can see on the screen now, make sure you're following me on all my other social media accounts, which you can find those links in the description below. If you are new to the channel, welcome to the community. Consider subscribing to the channel, and while you're at it, hit that notification bell. That way you can get the alert from when I drop new content. It would mean a lot to me if you all can like and share this review. It really helps out the channel, but I also appreciate all the support. And in the comments, let me know your thoughts on Espresso in this 6th episode, and where are you all at mentally with this show so far in season 2? Do you feel like we're back at square one from the information we've gotten from season 1, or do you feel like we're progressing the story? Let's have a discussion about it in the comments below. But before I get into the recap, just my initial thoughts, watching the episode a couple times now, this one felt, and I hate using this word because I feel like some people just use it really without knowing the meaning of filler episode. This to me didn't feel like we progressed the story. All the information we got from Uncle George in this week's episode, which was the surprise visitor, which we knew that was going to be the case from last week's episode, all the stuff he was telling Sean, I feel like this is kind of retracing stuff that we learned from last year, that Uncle George and Aunt May have a certain perspective of Leanne, and we as the audience are supposed to be like, can we trust her? Does she have bad intentions? What is her real true abilities? Rising people alive, an angel, a guardian angel of sorts, or a spawn from hell? It doesn't feel like we moved a lot from the story, especially considering the big moments from last week of this whole ritual that Leanne performed with the baby and her talking about her mother. We didn't even go back to that at all, and we still have yet really to address the episode prior to that of Dorothy burying Leanne. So I feel like, in number one, I have to say I really don't bring it up too much. I'm okay with the length of the episodes for the most part, but this week's episode, 24 minutes roughly, if you don't include the credits, so let's say 25 minutes, it felt short. It felt like a filler episode in my opinion, but again, it's just what I thought. Let me know your overall thoughts, but let's get into the recap as the episode opens up with yet again a flashback. And this flashback, again, this episode is titled Espresso. We see a young Jericho very early on as a baby crying, and we see Dorothy and Sean are stressed out for his parents. He has an espresso machine. This is supposed to give them help, supposed to give them energy, which I think is maybe a little bit of a symbolism of Leanne supposing she's not a machine, but she's supposed to help the Turners out with this new kid, take care of the child while they kind of rest up as being new parents. Let me know your thoughts on the Espresso being the title of this episode. Cut to where we are from last week, and we see Uncle George, the perspective of him walking to the house, asking where Leanne is, and he recites this particular line from Deuteronomy in the Bible, and I believe the line was, "You should not do violence to a hired servant, those that are poor or needy," which again, I wish we can learn a little bit more at this point. You know, what are we, 14 episodes into this show as far as episodes 1 through 8 or 1 through 9 of last year into 6 episodes here. What is Leanne? What is the purpose of a servant? What are their true intentions? Where do they come from? I just wish we would learn a little bit more of that mythology in regards to her purpose to the show. We see Sean tries to talk to George alone with Julian as Dorothy goes to check on Leanne, and hey, I told you last week, I'm team Leanne right now, just based on the terrible stuff that Dorothy has done to her. But she's giving her some pushback, deservingly so, as she's telling Dorothy, "You're a liar. You should be better at lying," because she tells her that her uncle's downstairs, which she doesn't believe at first till she overhears that conversation. But I like Leanne pushing at Dorothy's buttons. But cut to Uncle George noticing that there's something festering, there's something rotten in the house, and he notices this, as we've been talking about for weeks. The symbolism of that hole in the basement, the rotten, the foundation crumbling apart, a foundation of Sean and Dorothy's relationship, a foundation of literally the house coming apart as he notices this. And we see him talking about, he goes to straight up panic mode. He's going up and down the stairs. He's praying for the Turner family. As we know, Dorothy isn't a believer. She's like, stop praying for me. I don't need your forgiveness. I don't need your help. And it makes me think, again, they keep talking about this family, and we'll talk about the Marino family, but the repercussions of Dorothy's actions of taking Leanne and her, again, putting her foot forward. As we know from a couple weeks ago, she puts her feet down for the first time of this relationship and taking the situation in her hands, which hasn't turned out too well. We noticed that it's starting to rain outside. There's some thunder. Again, this whole religious aspect, the being connected to nature and earth and all the supernatural stuff going on. It's a nice tinge to this show, but still, I need some explanations of what's really happening. Sean wants to take his turn with Uncle George and try to have a one-on-one with him because he wants to play into his beliefs. As we know, last year, Sean did become a little bit of a believer, and I think he's getting back in that camp, especially after this episode. We see Julian wants to fight Uncle George. He mentions that this will be his 4th fist fight that he's ever gotten to in his life, and they're all been due to defending Dorothy. And Uncle George doesn't want to get into a fight with Julian. He says, are you afraid? Why aren't you afraid? As Julian's like, I'm not afraid of you. He's like, no, you should be afraid of Leanne. Again, Uncle George, Aunt May really make it seem that we should be fearing Leanne, but everything we've seen so far, again, a wolf, as they say, in sheep clothing. Can we trust Leanne? Is she someone that is a servant for the good, or is she for the evil? As we cut to Leanne, here's this conversation between Sean and George, and she's kind of shaking her head like, no, this isn't my intentions. This isn't who I am as a person. As Uncle George says, Leanne is at fault. She made them hope for something not possible. It was cruel. And this is where we see the conversation being had between George and Sean in regards to, he almost says, wait, you're telling me, as he explains who they are, which we'll get into in a bit. But again, going back to Leanne shaking her head, disagreeing with her uncle in regards to who she is, having this rebellious nature to her. Again, it feels like this was a conversation we had in season 1. I feel like it's rinse, recycle, repeat. We've kind of already know how they feel about Leanne. I wish we would kind of get more information regarding just their thought and their point of view of Leanne. I wish there was a little bit meat there. But going back to this conversation about her rebellious streak since childhood, she's always been someone that wants her own space. She doesn't hang around the community. As Sean kind of asks, where is this community? Where do you come from? As Uncle George says, you know exactly who we are. The Lesser Saints. He says, no, I don't have a clue who you guys are. He almost says, wait, as he describes who they are in regards to, we were given a second chance. And in this second chance, we're here to help people. And Sean almost mouths like, wait, so you're telling me that you guys are, and he stops. And it almost sounds like he wants to say, you're risen from the dead, you're angels of some sort. I wish they would have just let Sean say what he was going to say and stop having us sit on the edge of our seat to know what these people are. Again, based on last year's reveals, it seems like, again, Leanne brings people back to life, as according to Uncle George, bringing back to life as we see them on the corner streets, under the underpass. They've been brought back to help people. But if you take them out of their divine plan, there will be consequences, as we find out about the Marino family a little bit later in the episode. But Leanne's been disobedient. She's rebellious. Again, is she good? Is she bad? Can we trust her? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. But moving forward, bringing back Jericho wasn't part of the rules. Leanne, she meddled further with the situation. She needs to be taken back to the family. She needs prayer. She needs forgiveness. Cut back to this. The flashbacks didn't work for me this episode. I'm not going to lie. The flashbacks of the espresso machine, seeing Sean getting that job interview, him initially saying no, and then him taking it later on. He needs forgiveness. We talked about it last year review, that I feel like Sean is so, again, we say to ourselves, why is Sean still with Dorothy? Why is he still in this situation? Why hasn't he gotten authorities into the situation? Well, because he feels bad about leaving his family. He left his wife with their first kid to take on this job opportunity, even though he should have probably stayed home for a couple months once they became better parents, got a little routine in order, but he left. He put himself before his family. I get all that, but the flashbacks to me just it didn't hit home for me because we already knew that. Again, this episode felt like it was just more of the same thing from last year. But going back to the episode here, back to Uncle George telling Sean that if he returns her, he'll heal him and he'll be reunited with Jericho. Again, spewing these lies to Sean. Again, Uncle George and Aunt May, they talk about Leanne having rebellious, cruel ways. They are there's a pot kettle, calling it black. So going back to Sean tries to reason with Dorothy and Julian about the conversation they had. They don't believe anything that Uncle George is saying, but we see Sean is in the camp of like, well, there are some things that's been going on with the cellar and the basement. I think there's some truth there. And funny moment of the episode, Dorothy's just like, I don't want to hear the words coming out of your mouth right now. Again, Dorothy, she's evil, she's conniving, but she has some really funny lines, especially in this episode. But going back to Leanne, we see that, her and Sean are having this kind of heart-to-heart conversation as she's talking about Uncle George and all the stuff he's been saying behind my back. And again, Sean asks, can you just give us back Jericho? He says, I can't do that, Sean. It was a very kind of earnest and really good moment as far as their chemistry. To me, is just two of the best of the show, if I'm being honest. Going back to the recap, Dorothy interrupts George as he's praying, as he's making this kind of healing thing for Sean. She gives him the money. He takes the money, throws it in the hole that's been created. Again, this festering rottenness in this hole. He notices there's a piece of Leanne's hair in there, and he mentions that she is spreading around the house, not knowing that she was buried there. But there is something to be said about this house in regards to Leanne. Ever since she's come to this house, the ground, the foundation's been breaking. There is the bugs that come out of the ground. There's a lot of stuff that happened last year in regards to this, again, this festering, this rottenness, this rotting coming into the house once she's arisen, once she's come to the house again, her and the crickets bringing back life. There is a disruptance amongst this normal order of day-to-day life with her being there. She's not meant to be there. As we cut to Sean letting Leanne kind of out of the house, and they have this conversation regarding, just take me anywhere far from here. I don't want to go back to that family. Can you make this promise to me? Sean says yes, but Leanne says, you're lying. Cut to, again, the flashback of him accepting a job, his forgiveness, his reason of why he's always standing behind Dorothy, because he should have taken that job. He should have stayed home, been a father, took care of his wife, his newborn son, but he put himself in front of the family, and that's something he will probably never forgive himself of doing. As the episode ends, we go back to Sean promising to take Leanne as far away as possible. But cut to the news, breaking news. We have a news report showing that the Marino family, there's a disturbance in the neighborhood. There's been shots fired. We go back, and again, the shots fired because Leanne should have been there with that family. The significance of this family, we don't know quite yet with only 2 episodes left. But as Dorothy and George are having this yelling match, again, the bugs are coming from the ground and they're in the basement, but they go back upstairs. The episode ends with a high body count. Again, we know there was a bunch of kids in that house. I hope it's not that sinister that we're going to find out that all those kids that were part of the soccer team were there when this happened. Again, that mother, it was a couple other kids that we saw one teenager in a room, like he was part of the family. Again, we know that the mom was sick, the husband was there, but it seemed like there was a high body count as Uncle George looks at the news and says, what have you done? End of the episode. Again, it's titled Espresso. Let me know your thoughts of the meaning, but I'm taking it as Leanne was like an espresso machine for the Turner family. She was supposed to be the thing that's going to help them. They're supposed to get some more sleep because we have a babysitter, or there's something more to that espresso title. Again, going back to this ritual, I wish we would have learned more about what it meant, what Leanne did. I assume we're going to get a follow-up to that, hopefully sooner rather than later, of her eating that baby doll. We don't get a follow-up from her and her mother mannequin situation going on last week, but also what is the importance of the Marino family, and why is it that when Leanne left, there's tragedy that went down there? What is the purpose of Leanne being the servant? And if she is gone from her job duties, will the same thing happen to the Turners? If she's gone, is there going to be some fatal incident that happens to the Turner family? And last but not least, is Leanne good or bad? Let me know your thoughts on that. But again, overall, there are moments in this episode, but I think that this was a filler episode in regards to, I felt like we learned a lot of stuff that we knew last year, stuff that we already knew as an audience, and we really didn't push the narrative forward besides the little cliffhanger of the Marino family having some tragedy going on due to the consequences of Leanne not being there. But again, all the Uncle George stuff, which I like that actor. I love the dynamic between Uncle George shaking things up. But I wish this episode would give us more of the answers we're looking for. We got episode 7, episode 8. I think it's 9 episodes. So I said that we only got 2 episodes left. So we might have 3 episodes. Let me know if it's 8 or 9. Nonetheless, let me know your thoughts or where you all are at with this season so far and your overall thoughts of this episode. As always, make sure to like the video, share the video. Again, leave all your comments, your theories, your predictions in the comment section. Subscribe to the channel, hit the bell. That way you don't miss any of my other content. Hope you all are staying safe and you all enjoyed this review. And we'll see you on the next video.